The new Prince Harry interview, it is emotional, and what he reveals about his father, King Charles, saying his father won't speak to him. Prince Harry had fought in court for security protection when he visits the UK.
In a stunning and humiliating courtroom spectacle that sent shockwaves through Britain's legal and royal spheres, Prince Harry, once revered as a senior royal, and now increasingly seen as a self-important celebrity exile, was left seething as judges presiding over his high-profile security case flatly refused to address him by his royal title.
Some breaking news as it comes to us relating to Prince Harry out of London. So here's what happened. He lost a legal challenge that he mounted over the British government's decision to downgrade his security.
The courtroom, not the court of public opinion, became the setting of this royal comeuppance, as Harry's inflated sense of entitlement collided with the cold, impartial wall of British judicial authority.
A British judge has ruled against Prince Harry and his appeal to reinstate security for himself and his family during visits to the UK. In 2020, the government stripped automatic and taxpayer-funded police protection.
This decision isn't just symbolic. It's a decisive declaration that Prince Harry is no longer treated as a functioning royal in the eyes of the British legal system. And for a man clinging desperately to his former status.
He's currently living in California, where he's been speaking to our correspondent Catastrophic, and we can bring you that extended interview now.
While living thousands of miles away in a California mansion.
Reconciliation with my family. There's no point in continuing to fight anymore. As I said, life is precious. I don't know how much longer my father has.
The rejection couldn't be more catastrophic. What happens when a man clings to a crown he willingly cast aside? This week, we got our answer in a British courtroom, where Prince Harry faced a cold, unflinching dose of reality. In his ongoing legal battle over security privileges,
after he and his wife Meghan stepped away from their royal roles. Our partners at the BBC got this exclusive interview with Prince Harry.
The judges delivered a blow not just to his case, but to his ego. They refused to call him Prince. That's right. No His Royal Highness. No regal fanfare. Just Mr. Henry Charles Albert David, his legal name.
Overseas, and Prince Harry has lost a Court of Appeal case over security arrangements in the United Kingdom, which he says is the reason the King won't speak to him.
The same way any ordinary British citizen would be addressed. And this wasn't some clerical formality.
He expressed his great sense of disappointment, I think a real bitterness about his loss at the Court of Appeal today, attempting to overturn that decision back in 2020 to downgrade his security.
This was a deliberate and meaningful message from the British legal system. Harry is no longer a working royal. The moment he and Meghan packed their bags, stepped back from royal duties, and moved to Montecito to cash in on Spotify and Netflix deals, they left behind the institution, and with it, the privileges. In the courtroom, titles mean nothing. The law sees facts, not fairy tales.
But it certainly is proven that there was no way to win this through the courts. Wish someone had told me that beforehand.
And the fact is, Harry walked away from royal life. The courts simply treated him accordingly. But Harry isn't just fighting for formality. He wants the British public to foot the bill for his personal security whenever he sets foot in the UK. Let's be clear. This lawsuit was filed by Harry himself.
Partners there interviewing exclusively Prince Harry after that court loss. Listen, he's been saying to the courts all along that the downgrade in his status as a member of the royal family.
Not out of public interest, but self-interest. He claims he's at risk, and therefore, he should be entitled to government-funded protection, despite being a non-working royal who lives full-time in the United States. The British Home Office disagrees. The Royal and VIP Executive Committee, revered, reviewed his case and ruled that he doesn't qualify for publicly funded police protection.
The odd charitable function where I can in between that. I put myself at risk for that, but I will continue on with a life of public service, so I will always support the charities and the people that mean so much to me.
Why? Because he's not conducting royal duties. He's not representing the crown. He's not serving the state. He's visiting for personal reasons, book tours, private events, Netflix promos, not public service. Yet here we are, with Harry suing his own government because they refuse to give him special treatment. The irony couldn't be more glaring. This is a man who left the monarchy to escape its constraints, but now demands its benefits. A man who criticizes royal protocols on global platforms, but expects to be addressed as prince in a courtroom. A man who wants to stand apart from the system, but insists it still pay his bills. In reality, what the court delivered was more than a legal verdict. It was a symbolic reckoning. The British judiciary told Harry what the public has known for years. You can't have it both ways. You don't get to attack the monarchy and then demand its protections. You don't get to reject royal responsibility and cling to royal status. And most importantly, you don't get to rewrite the rules of a system you chose to abandon. This case isn't about justice, it's about entitlement. And on that front, Harry just lost more than a court battle. He lost credibility. Let's dig deeper into the hypocrisy driving this courtroom drama, because Prince Harry's case doesn't just clash with royal protocol, it defies precedent and common sense. The truth is, the legal precedent here is crystal clear. Non-working royals do not receive automatic security protections. That includes Harry. But it also includes others like Prince Michael of Kent, the Queen's cousin, who receives no taxpayer-funded security at all. He quietly covers his own costs.
Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, has lost the later stage of his court battle over the level of security protection he receives in the UK. His taxpayer-funded protection was downgraded
because he doesn't carry out official duties on behalf of the monarchy. No lawsuits, no tantrums, no public pity campaigns. Harry, on the other hand, wants to rewrite that rulebook for himself. He believes he's the exception, that his personal sense of importance should override policy. But the system isn't designed to serve egos. It's built on rules, risk assessments, and consistency. If every non-working royal or high-profile figure demanded state-funded security, just because of who they used to be or how famous they are, the system would collapse under the weight of entitlement. And yet, Harry is trying to carve out a bespoke role for himself. Not quite royal, not quite civilian, but somewhere in between where the perks are intact and the responsibilities vanish. Look at the timeline since Megxit. He's published a tell-all memoir, Spare, slamming his family. He sat through multiple interviews accusing the monarchy of racism, neglect, and cruelty. He signed massive deals with Netflix and Spotify, monetizing the very institution he fled. He even aired private conversations and text messages to millions of viewers. And yet, with all that said and done, he still expects the UK to treat him like an active royal. He wants the same protection he had as the Queen's grandson on duty, while he's now more focused on being a celebrity than a statesman. This is the ultimate contradiction. He's burning the royal bridge while demanding safe passage back across it. Harry has effectively tried to turn victimhood into currency, claiming he's targeted, claiming he's in danger, all while ignoring the consequences of his own decisions. The UK government didn't exile him. He left. The palace didn't silence him. He shouted into every microphone he could find. And now, when the very institutions he's attacked turn their backs on him, he cries foul. But here's the brutal truth. You cannot wage war against the system and then beg it for protection. You can't brand yourself as independent and then demand royal-level treatment when it suits you. This isn't a case about safety. It's about entitlement, vanity, and a desperate desire to remain relevant in a world that's starting to move on.
The Duke says that as a result, it's too dangerous for him to bring his family to the UK, citing what he says is unjustified and inferior. Exactly, he said, hasn't he, that he wants his children to feel at home in the UK, but said exactly what you've just quoted, Afia, it's not possible to keep them safe.
And the courtroom? It's not playing along. By now, We've seen how Prince Harry's legal crusade reveals a pattern of contradiction. But to fully grasp just how far this case spirals from reality, we have to examine the arrogance and double standards Harry continues to flaunt, and the growing public backlash against it. Let's not forget, Harry has not been denied security altogether. What the UK government has said is simple. As a private individual who no longer undertakes royal duties, he must request security on a case-by-case basis, subject to threat-level assessments, just like any other high-profile visitor. That's not an insult. That's policy, and it's applied fairly. But Harry doesn't want security by protocol. He wants guaranteed police protection at all times, regardless of why he's in the UK or what he's doing. He wants elite officers assigned to him automatically, no questions asked. This isn't about basic safety. This is about status projection, about feeling above the crowd, about projecting an image of importance that no longer matches reality. And when that request was denied, based on the same criteria applied to diplomats, former officials, and yes, even royals, Harry didn't appeal quietly. He filed a full-scale lawsuit. Think about that. A man who claims to value discretion and privacy has chosen to drag an entire national security system into public court, simply to preserve his own inflated sense of relevance. Even more troubling, he offered to personally fund police protection if the government wouldn't. On the surface, that might seem generous, but legally, it's a non-starter. UK law does not permit individuals to hire metropolitan police officers for private use. Why? Because that sets a dangerous precedent. Public police forces aren't bodyguard services for billionaires. Allowing that would open the door for any wealthy individual to commandeer national resources, turning public safety into a luxury commodity. But again, Harry expects an exception. He wants to pay for what no one else can buy.
The three judges at the Court of Appeal rejected that today. They disagreed with his challenge, the three judges there, and they said that his appeal against the previous High Court decision. Jeffrey said the Duke of Sussex's arguments were powerful and moving, and it was plain that he felt...
Not because he's in danger, but because he refuses to accept that he's no longer part of the institution he walked away from. Taxpayers are watching a multimillionaire, someone who's inked global media deals, lives in a gated mansion in California, and lectures the world on privilege, demand that they cover his security while he promotes personal ventures and court PR blitzes. It's the height of hypocrisy. Public polling in the UK has shown overwhelming disapproval of Harry's demands. Many view the lawsuit as a cynical attempt to weaponize public fear and manipulate public funding for private comfort. After all, Harry has made it clear he doesn't want to return to royal life. Unless, of course, the cameras are rolling or the perks are on offer. This discontent isn't limited to tabloids or royal critics. Former royal protection officers, MPs, and legal experts have all questioned the logic, ethics, and entitlement driving this case. They've asked, why should someone who criticizes and abandons the system be allowed to cherry-pick its benefits? Even within the judiciary, subtle frustration is clear. In earlier hearings, judges questioned the need for so many redacted documents, suggesting Harry's team was more interested in shielding his image than clarifying his position. This isn't about justice. It's about optics. It's about staging a battle that lets Harry say, "Look at what they've done to me," when in reality, he's the architect of his own exclusion. This is what happens when you mistake celebrity for diplomacy, victimhood for virtue, and entitlement for injustice. Harry's campaign isn't winning him allies. It's exposing the hollow foundation of his post-royal persona. Because in the real world, away from Oprah interviews and Netflix montages, the rules apply to everyone. And no amount of litigation, nostalgia, or wounded ego can rewrite that. By this point, Prince Harry's courtroom performance is beginning to look less like a legal case and more like a self-inflicted circus. a spectacle of entitlement, control, and bruised ego. But the deeper we dig, the more we uncover about his motivations. This isn't just about police protection. This is about control over narrative, image, and institutional authority. One of the most glaring ironies in this case is Harry's insistence that he is still a high-risk individual due to his status. A status he publicly discarded and continues to attack. He claims his royal lineage makes him a target, but fails to acknowledge that it's his own relentless media campaigns, memoir revelations, and public grievances that have intensified public scrutiny. Let's not forget, it wasn't palace protocol or media intrusion that escalated tensions. It was Harry himself who published Spare, dragging his own family through the mud with stories of physical altercations, drug use, and private conversations.
Would be turned down. This is what Sir Geoffrey Voss had to say in court as he summed up the decision.
The decisions taken in the decision letter and subsequently were taken, I said in my judgment, as an understandable and perhaps was that the Duke of Sussex's appeal would be dismissed.
It was Harry who exposed royal security procedures and locations in both interviews and books, details that real professionals know should never be disclosed. And now, this same man is telling the court that he fears for his safety, when he's done more than anyone else to increase his own risk. If Harry is truly concerned about security, why does he keep releasing sensitive details to the public? Why does he continuously invite chaos while demanding protection from its consequences? The truth is painful but simple. Harry creates the fire, then sues the fire brigade for not arriving faster. He wants to control how the monarchy sees him, how the public sees him, and now, how the courts treat him. As if British judges should bow to his version of reality, not the rule of law. He's attempting to bend an entire legal system to accommodate his personal contradictions. Since leaving the royal family, Harry and Meghan have built a commercial empire on one product: victimhood. Their Netflix series, podcast episodes, and magazine interviews all follow the same script, portraying themselves as wounded warriors, misunderstood and mistreated by an archaic institution. This lawsuit plays directly into that narrative. It gives them another talking point, another headline, another excuse to claim that the British establishment has turned against them. But what they won't tell you is that the British establishment isn't punishing them, it's ignoring them. And that's what truly terrifies Harry. This lawsuit, far from being a legitimate cry for justice, is a calculated attempt to force the institution to acknowledge his significance again. He doesn't want safety. He wants symbolism. He wants to be seen as royal, as important, as indispensable. But here's the brutal truth. He's not. The monarchy has continued without him. The UK public has moved on. Even the media, once obsessed with his every move, is turning its attention elsewhere. The only people who still believe Harry is the center of the story are Harry and Meghan themselves. And that desperation shows. Filing legal documents just to insist he be called Prince, suing the Home Office for not treating him like a senior royal. These aren't actions of a confident man standing on principle. These are the tantrums of someone watching the world stop revolving around him and refusing to accept it. This court case may have started as a demand for protection, but it's ending as a public autopsy of Harry's ego. He wanted to prove he still matters. Instead, he's proving why he doesn't. By now, Prince Harry's legal crusade has exposed more than just a security dispute. It's revealed a slow-motion collapse of credibility. What started as a case about police protection has morphed into a courtroom reckoning. A brutal, public reminder that Harry is no longer the prince he imagines himself to be. One of the most telling moments in this entire drama wasn't even verbal. It was the silence of the British royal family throughout the proceedings. No support, no public statement, no behind-the-scenes lobbying. In past years, such an aggressive legal effort, especially one targeting the Home Office, might have triggered quiet negotiations or a family-led compromise. Not this time. Instead, the palace has remained conspicuously absent, and that silence speaks volumes. It signals that even behind closed doors, Harry stands alone. The institution he once served and then savaged has washed its hands of his campaign. Why? Because he burned those bridges himself, through public betrayals, global interviews, ghost-written memoirs, and relentless personal attacks on senior royals. Let's remember, this is the same man who accused his own family of racism on American television. The same man who described his royal upbringing as a prison, who mocked his father's parenting, and who painted his brother, the future king, as violent and jealous. Now he turns around and demands the support and privileges of that very same institution? The monarchy hasn't forgotten, and more importantly, it hasn't forgiven. And so, when Harry walked into that courtroom demanding recognition as prince, the message from both the judges and the palace was clear. You gave it up. You don't get to wear the crown when it suits you. This case has done irreparable damage to Harry's global brand. He once styled himself as the people's prince, the modern royal who walked with veterans, hugged sick children, and fought for mental health awareness. But today, he's a headline for the wrong reasons. Litigation, entitlement, grievance, and hypocrisy. This lawsuit has cast him not as a victim, but as a vindictive, privileged exile trying to sue his way back into a position he abandoned. It has replaced dignity with desperation. And the court's refusal to address him as prince wasn't just a formality. It was a verdict on his relevance. Public trust in Harry has plummeted. Polling data shows that his popularity in the UK has sunk to historic lows, even lower than Prince Andrew's at one point. That's not just a fall from grace. It's a crash from orbit. And this court case hasn't helped. It's reinforced every criticism that Harry is disconnected, self-obsessed, and unwilling to take responsibility for the life he chose. Even in the United States, where sympathy once ran high, the tides are shifting. The Netflix content is drying up. Spotify pulled the plug. The buzz around Harry and Meghan Incorporated is fading because the public is waking up to the truth. You can only sell victimhood for so long before people stop buying it. This legal battle was meant to be a power move. Instead, it's become a cautionary tale. A prince who tried to turn the courtroom into a throne room and walked out just another man with a title the world stopped recognizing.